I want you to imagine for a moment that you started investing in 1985. For a couple of years, your money keeps going up and up until
Black Monday.
They're calling it the Monday Massacre.
Wall Street had its biggest one-day drop in history.
The results of the decline will hit millions of people.
Up until this point, your friends probably thought you were some kind of genius, but now they're urging you to sell. But you ignore them, and slowly but surely the market recovers until
the Nasdaq index in freefall, down nearly 10%.
Driven by technology in general and the internet in particular.
Traders and investors shell-shocked.
Your friends are on their knees begging you to pull your money out, saying things like it's time to take your profits before you lose everything. But you hold strong and things start going back up until you're hit with...
It was one of the most profound events in generations with huge consequences.
Little did you know, you're in for the ride of a lifetime until...
The global economy will contract by 3% this year, the worst downturn since the Great Depression.
Surely this is the end of the stock market. But as things reopened, the market soared 27% from its low, setting new records. What a comeback. Something I didn't mention is the guy that invested his money in 1985 was actually me when I turned 18 years old. The average return over this time period was 11.23% per year. So if I'd have only invested $250 per month during this time, then I would have made $1,841,521.08. That's a return of over 6,000%. But between us, I invested a lot more than that. So now you understand the power of investing, I think it's time to jump into the details. Honestly, it's amazing how many people talk about investing, but don't actually show you how to do it. So I'm going to quickly walk you through how to invest in stocks on your phone. Of course, remember, I'm not a financial advisor. This is just the way I do it. And before you do any of this, make sure you have an emergency fund of 3 to 5 months of living expenses. The first thing on our list is to set up an account. A lot of people get stuck at this stage as there's a lot of different investment platforms out there and also different types of accounts. But trust me, it's much more simple than it first seems, especially now you can do it all online. When I first started investing, I had to phone up the stockbroker every time I wanted to buy a stock. Let's use the Trading 212 app. I'm going to be using my son's account as my account's pretty messy as it has a bunch of free shares. He's actually been running an experiment on here for the last 3 months, but we'll talk about that in a bit. The account you open should be a tax advantaged one. This means you won't have to pay any unnecessary taxes. These are known as stocks and shares ISAs in the UK and Roth IRAs in America. I think the UK option's much better as you can invest up to £20,000 a year without paying capital gains tax on your profits, and you can take out your money whenever you want. In contrast, Americans have to wait until they're old and retired, and they have a much lower limit of $6,500 per year. Feel free to use whatever app you like. This is just one of my personal favorites. Next, we need to deposit some money in order to start investing. Most apps make it pretty easy to deposit money. We just have to click these 3 lines and then select deposit funds. As you can see, this brings up a screen with lots of different options like instant bank transfer, debit card, and what we're going to use, Apple Pay. Let's just put in 400 so we can invest in some stocks together. Feel free to invest whatever you feel comfortable doing. Curtis, I'm going to need your face for the phone.
All right, hang on.
This next step is super important. Getting some free stocks. Since I was planning to talk about Trading 212 anyway, I reached out to them to see if they would be interested in sponsoring this portion of the video. They agreed and they're offering a free stock worth up to £100 to anyone that uses the code Tilbury when they create an account. Plus you can get more free shares by inviting your friends. Both of you will get a free share as long as they fund their account. So don't waste your invites and invite brokies. And also don't worry if you've already opened an account within the last 10 days. You can still use the promo code Tilbury in the app and receive your free share. Right. Now we need to plan a winning strategy. The first thing we need to remember is that investments go up and down, so it's very hard to pick winning individual stocks. That's why I prefer to invest in all of them. You probably think this sounds a bit crazy, but stay with me. I love listening to music. I'm a big Deacon Blue and Queen fan myself. But whatever you like, if you've ever listened to the radio or used Spotify, you'll be familiar with the music charts. The better the songs perform in sales and downloads, the higher up they go in the charts. On the other hand, if a song